Hello, Georgetown. I'm Beverly Enos, and this is Spotlight Georgetown. As part of our cable process, you can find us on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. If you'd like to become part of this process, if you would like to work behind the cameras or in front of the cameras in the hot seat or work with some of the editing and all of our computers, we have some wonderful gadgets and gizmos in there. So join us if you would like, just let us know. Now today we're going to be talking to Fire Chief Beardsley, and we're going to be talking about winter safety, all kinds of winter safety. We've got quite a gamut that we're going to be covering today. Welcome, it's good to have you back.
It's nice to be here, thank you.
Let's start right off. Now you've been in Georgetown how long as our chief?
A little over a year now.
Having fun?
Having a blast, love it. Great people.
Getting to know everybody and all the ins and outs?
Getting to know everybody, I don't know about the ins and outs.
We welcome you at town meeting. It's always nice to see you there.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Let's start right with carbon monoxide testing. This is a law now that
Yes,
everybody has to have a carbon monoxide
Yes.
detector.
Yes.
Okay.
In their home.
How did that, Nicole's Law, how did that get started?
Well, there was, unfortunately, a tragedy that had occurred in the state, this young girl, and there was a lack of any carbon monoxide detectors in their home. The carbon monoxide gas from a leaking furnace invaded the home, and unfortunately this young child died.
Okay, it comes from, most people think carbon monoxide, they think of their car,
Right.
the tailpipe of the car, that type of thing. But this can happen from a furnace?
A furnace, any kind of fossil fuel burning appliance produces carbon monoxide. And it's dangerous because it's odorless, colorless, tasteless. You have no idea, and it's just suddenly it's seeping in. Suddenly you begin to feel a little nauseous, a little sleepy, and if not recognized quickly enough, it can lead to death.
So this is something that it builds up slowly in the home, or is it an all of a sudden type thing?
It just depends upon how the leak is. You can have a small leak in your furnace, and it can be slowly just seeping in. I've heard people that have said, I wake up each morning with a headache,
Okay.
or I'll have a headache in my house. And you go over, you do a reading, and you find out that you do have a leak in your furnace. And it's usually like at the chimney, someplace like that, where it's leaking the exhaust fumes back into the house.
So this would be oil or gas?
Oil or gas.
Both.
Both, right.
Okay, so it's not something that, it's something that everybody has to worry about. Because
Exactly.
we've got one, pretty much everyone in town is one or the other.
Right, exactly. yeah.
Unless they're going on wood stoves, and even with that, you still have to have hot water heaters.
Right,
things like that.
exactly. Yep.
Where would someone place this detector, and how big is it?
Well, the detectors are about the same size as a regular smoke detector are. You can buy them battery operated. You can buy them as plug-in type models. Right now, the state law says you have to have it outside the sleeping areas and also in the furnace area.
So you have one downstairs with the furnace and one
Upstairs.
on the main floor or upstairs, wherever the people sleep.
Exactly, right.
And if you have two sleeping floors, you'd have two.
Exactly, yep.
Plus the furnace.
Yes.
Okay. Is it something, are they expensive?
They're not any more expensive than a regular standard smoke detector, $20 to $30, depending upon the model that you buy. There's a lot of different models that are out on the market. You can buy them hardwired, just like your regular smoke detectors.
That was going to be my next question.
Or
Okay, good.
battery and plug-in, right.
Okay, so if someone's building a new house or reconstructing a house and they're putting bedrooms in, they can hardwire.
Yes, that's what I did in my own house. Hardwired it in my bedroom, so I have quick alerting.
And is this something that you have to change the batteries on or things like that, like you normally do with smoke detectors?
It depends what kind of a model that you buy, and one really is kind of leading into the other, because you can have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors that are hardwired, but they also have a 9 volt or whatever battery backup on them.
So it's either one. All the ones that are for sale in the stores, are they all allowed? Are they all okay? Do we have to look for some sort of inspected by or approved by?
The UL label.
Okay.
Underwriter's Lab, that's the best to go with.
So as long as it has the UL, you know that it's one of the better.
That it's one of the better, exactly.
And these can be purchased hardware stores, Walmarts?
Any place,
Really?
yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I think mine is hardwired, so I've never had to worry about it.
That's great, yeah.
We talked a little bit about the chimney before connected to your furnace. What about chimneys with wood stoves?
That is a real challenge this time of the year. People are out there burning wood. We could smell them wood stove burning going on all the way back in early October. Some of the problems with the chimneys, they get clogged up. Creosote, because maybe they're not burning good seasoned wood, and the creosote goes up, forms like a scale on the side of the chimney, and what happens is the chimney becomes choked off, and they go to light a fire, and usually when we talk to the people, they say, it sounded like a freight train rolling through my house.
I've
and
seen a
that's
chimney
the
fire.
roar.
I've seen a chimney, and
Yeah,
they're
very
terrifying.
scary, yeah,
Because
very
I mean,
scary.
the first thing you do is call 911 and get people there really fast.
Exactly, yeah.
Now, in 2007, there were 880 fire incidents involving chimney fireplaces and wood stoves.
Mhm.
So those numbers, I think, with the economy, more people are doing wood stoves again. I think there was a cycle back in the 70s
Right.
that the wood stoves were the new thing, and cold stoves, because of the economy. And I'm seeing that again. Pellet stoves, do they have the same issues?
Sort of the same issues. The issues that they're coming up with pellet stoves is that there's a constant heat that's radiating through their chimneys. Even though they're extremely efficient, there's still heat that comes up the chimneys and can cause a problem with drying out combustible surfaces, basically thereby changing the chemical composition and causing a fire.
So other than having the chimney cleaned, is that the only way that you can really prevent chimney fires?
The main way,
Okay.
because that's where most of the chimney fires come from, but also making sure that you burn good seasoned wood is one of the other
Not
major
soft pine.
factors. Soft pine, wood that just was cut down. You know, a lot of people that go out, they chop down a tree on their property, and it's like, well, we can use this for firewood this year, and it's just not dried out enough.
So you want seasoned like from a year ago?
2 years, something like that. Yes.
Okay, so a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
And there are lots of places, I mean, you can drive up and down streets in Georgetown, going into Georgetown, Groveland, Boxford, and there are signs everywhere.
I see them. Yes.
Fireplace wood, and
Yes,
they're
I
all
do.
over the place. Do you recommend any particular people to clean the chimney, or is this just one of those everybody does it the same?
No.
No.
Someone
think
who,
so.
yeah, darn. Certified chimney sweeps. That's who you want to go with. You go online, the Yellow Pages, places like that, where these people advertise. Look to see that they have a lot of them. I've seen a little seal, that kind of like a little chimney sweep type guy in their ads. But those are the people. You want somebody who has been trained how to do this, knows how to do it correctly, and is going to look out for your best interest.
And when they come to do it, I've had wood stoves in my last house. They clean from the inside, and then they clean from the roof.
Yes.
So you're going to have people up on your roof and inside, and
Correct.
it's quite a messy experience. So
It-
they're pretty good about it, but even with that,
Yeah.
it's not something that you want the kids in the room hanging around in the room watching.
Yeah, absolutely not, because number one, you don't want somebody climbing up on the chimney that doesn't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
because they can get hurt. But with a licensed, properly trained person, they go up there, they have the equipment, they can look down the chimney, see if you have any cracks in the lining, make sure that there's nothing that is hanging out or sticking there that shouldn't be there, and they're the right people for the job.
So they kind of inspect the chimney at the same time.
Yes, they do.
Now don't expect them to show up with the black top hat and the little chimney sweep thing.
I've actually seen a couple of guys drive around like
Yeah,
that.
I have too. But safety tips concerning wood or pellet stoves. Anything that people should really be careful of.
Again, just from the experience that I have as a firefighter, you come in on chimney fires, stove fires and such, and the biggest problem that we always see is people packing combustible items too close. I remember one in particular, there was a baby's type crib that was less than 18 inches from the stove.
Oh,
And
wow.
yes, creating a very, very dangerous situation. And you think you're doing the right thing, and you have maybe a lot of crowded house or something of that nature, and you have to be careful where you stack things, because bags, pots and pans, all gets in the way.
A lot of people put them in a fireplace,
Right.
which is probably one of the safer areas because it's recessed and it's already set up for fires in some manner.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you'll see them just in the corner of someone's room, at the
Right.
corner of the house,
Mhm.
with no protection behind it in the walls or on the floor. So they really need to be installed safely too.
They need to be installed safely, and they need to be installed according to the building code. Because if they just have them sitting in a corner with no protection behind, no protection underneath, that can lead to a fire. But if they're not sure, make sure you have a properly licensed person doing the installation work. Make sure that it is following the local business codes.
So they can check with the building inspector
I mean
on
building codes, excuse me.
that. Yeah, they can check with the building inspector
Yes.
and get the codes and
Correct.
find out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Wood stoves make ashes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people clean out the ashes at the bottom of the chimney in the basement or in the garage and put it in plastic bags.
Very dangerous.
And I've seen fires because of ashes in plastic bags. It's
Yes.
actually set the house on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So how should you dispose of the ashes?
In an ash bucket.
Just like the old ash cans.
Yes, like the old ash cans. There are buckets that are out on the market that people can purchase. They put the ashes in there because we've had cases of fires. People have said, I haven't had a fire in my fireplace for 3 or 4 days. And it's nothing unusual to have an ash, they stay nicely insulated down there. And the next thing you know, they burn the house down by mistake.
Yeah. And so people have to make sure that they get the ashes out of the chimney.
Yes.
Because a lot of times I don't know that people understand that.
Yep. A lot of places are built, they have what they call an ash pit.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a fire last winter in one of these ash pits because the way things were designed and built, the ash pit went down. There was some wood that had been dropped down there from probably when it was being built. And they could smell something burning. And we went all through the house trying to figure out where we could smell something burning. And here it was down in the ash pit out in the garage where the access was that we found it.
Gas fireplaces don't have any of these same issues, correct?
No, the gas fireplaces, I have one myself and I absolutely love it.
I do too.
Produces nice heat. The biggest thing, like with any heat producing appliance, number one, make sure that it's installed properly by someone who's licensed properly to install it. Make sure that it's properly maintained, tuned up on a regular basis. It's worth it. I mean, it's a little bit of expense, but it's like your oil burner. Annually, it should be inspected and tuned up to make sure that everything is cleaned up, that it's working properly, the ignition is proper on it, so that you don't have delayed ignition, so that you don't have fire problems later on.
Okay, now who would you contact to do that type of inspection?
Plumbers. There are also several companies out there. Again, check the yellow pages, check online under the fireplaces to see who these people are that are available.
There are fireplace stores. I imagine they would have names too.
They would probably have names also, right?
Let's go on to holiday decorating.
Yep.
I can remember seeing Chevy Chase movie, and they've got the extension cord with all the plugs in it into another extension cord with all the plugs into it and plugs hanging everywhere. Right. Not a good thing?
No, that brought back a lot of memories of my childhood, though.
Me too.
Yeah, it's you don't want to overload your circuits. That's the big thing. In the Chevy Chase movie, it was funny to see it kind of go poof. But in real life, that could have torched the entire house very, very easily.
So when people are getting ready to decorate their houses and have fire-safe holiday seasons, what should they think about?
I think the very first thing you begin with is making sure the tree is properly installed, that it's put into a holder where it can get water on a regular basis. You can gain access to it on a daily basis, make sure it's being watered. It's placed in a part of the room where it's not near a stove, not near a fireplace. A lot of people think it looks very cozy to have the tree right here and the fireplace right there, and all you need to do is just have one spark jump out, and that's it. A Christmas tree, there's several videos that you can see on YouTube of how fast Christmas trees will burn in a matter of seconds, that a room will be engulfed in flames. The other thing, as part of the real basic safety, is when you get the lights. Inspect the lights. A lot of people reuse the same lights from year to year. It's the most economical thing to do, but look for frayed cords. Are there sockets that have damage to them and such? Because any one of these things can produce a spark that can cause to a disaster.
And on the lights, that could even be in an artificial tree.
Yes, even on an artificial tree, correct.
Because it's still electricity, it's still a problem.
Right.
What, as we go through the holiday season, what about outside lights and things like that, outside decorations?
Outside decorations, the same thing. You don't want to cause electrical short. I heard a story just this week of someone that was putting up their lights outside, and they had one of those staple guns, and they were on a metal ladder. They were
Ooh.
doing the ka-chunk, putting the staples in, and they accidentally shot a staple into the wire. They got a pretty good shock.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, that's
Yeah.
one of the basic safety things right there. But inspecting the cords, again, just like you do on the inside stuff. And make sure it's rated for outside.
Yeah, you can't use that pretty brown or pretty white cord outside. You want,
Absolutely not.
You need the 3-prong, and you need a good solid cord.
Exactly. Yep.
That goes, those orange ones, they don't look too pretty, but
They do the job. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, too, with your outdoor lights, making sure you buy outdoor lights, not using indoor lights outdoors.
Yeah, you can't take those miniatures from inside and put them outside.
They
It
look
doesn't
pretty,
work.
but they're dangerous.
Yeah. So you really need something that's outside.
Right.
Anything else about the holidays?
Just with the holidays, just as you know, the normal things of just being safe, being careful out there with on the ice. I mean, this morning we had ice already. You worry.
Mm-hmm.
There's leaves that are still on the ground. The water forms on top. Next thing you know, you have ice. So just driving safety, walking safety. Just a lot of accidents can occur. Just you're not aware of it when you walk outside, and especially when we get the first snow.
Yeah.
There we all go nuts.
Yeah, that's always, everybody has a problem. There's always accidents everywhere.
Mm.
So let's move on to house numbering and the hydrants.
Yes.
Now I know it's up on the website about having hydrants shoveled out.
Yes.
And it sounds silly now because it's not winter yet.
Right.
It is, but but the weather isn't. And are people supposed to shovel out their own hydrants, or does the town come around and do it?
We ask people to adopt a hydrant, and you mentioned on the fire department website, we talk about the Adopt a Hydrant program, and it's very easy. If you have a hydrant on your property, if you could please shovel it out for us. We try to go out after a storm, and just with manpower, it's very difficult to hit all the many hundreds of fire hydrants we have in town. We try to hit along the business district and such, because that's important, you know, for the retailers. We try to keep them open. But on the side streets and such, if people have a hydrant on their property, to please shovel it out.
And
It
they
helps
should
us.
shovel all around it.
All around it, because our hoses need a big area in which to access the ports on the hydrant. And by shoveling it out, it'll give us that access that we need. And also there's flags on top too that you'll see. And as long as we can see them, we can spot the hydrant.
Okay, so about how far should they shovel around the hydrant?
A good 5 feet around the hydrant
Wow.
is going to give us plenty of room.
Because you have to get the manpower back there too.
Exactly.
To hook the hydrant.
Hook the hydrant hoses up,
Yep.
yep.
When we start seeing snow, what other types of things do we worry about, other than the ice, and any other safety things around the houses?
Keeping the walkways open,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big thing, and the driveways. Obviously, during a snowstorm, it's very difficult for someone to get out there and constantly be keeping, you know, a walkway or a driveway open. And that creates a lot of problems, because that's when we're most likely to have a call. But after the storm is over with, a lot of people use their driveway as the access to get into their house through their garage, and they don't think about the front door. And oftentimes, the
Oh,
front
yeah.
door is where we need, if we have to get a stretcher into the house or something, that's the access way that we need to get in. And trying to muscle a stretcher with a 200-pound person on it, it can be very dangerous for a firefighter trying to get through too narrow an area.
So the 911 call, they wouldn't think to go through the garage, would they? No.
Well, we try to gain wherever we can. I mean, you know, I look at a call, you know, that we had earlier today. The driveway, driveway exit entrance through the garage was much easier for us than the front door.
Mm-hmm.
But in many cases, the front door, because of the design of the house, gives us an easier access.
Plus, if there's a fire or something, you would automatically tend to go to the front door anyway.
The front door,
Firefighters would.
sure. That's and you know, there's many different ways people can get into their houses: front doors, back doors, side doors, and such. And it makes good common safety sense to keep all the areas shoveled open for us and for themselves.
Okay. The next one is the
Mm-hmm.
house numbering.
House numbering, one of my favorites. It's difficult to find your house if we can't find the number. And if you have nice 3-4 inch high letters, reflective letters are great for the nighttime, just so we can be able to find them. Place them near the door. That always helps. On your mailbox, so that when we drive down the street, we're not trying to search and see which house number you are.
And the scouts are actually selling house numbers.
Yes, they do have a program. They can contact the fire department, and we'll put them in touch with one of the scouts to supply them with a house numbering.
So you really want it close to the front door so that when you come up to the house, you know exactly what the number is.
Yes, because you figure that's the most common place we're going to be looking is on the front door and again on the mailbox. Those are the two easiest places for us to spot.
Now, there's something else we wanted to talk about today, residential lock boxes. What is that?
Well, that's something we've been proponents of for a couple of years now. And it is a box, measures roughly about 3 inches by 4 inches in size. It can fit at the side door, front door of a house. And inside it, it's a battle-hardened, case-hardened box that you can put a key in to get into your house. They're very handy, especially for elderly people. They don't have a lot of people that have a key to get access to their home, or maybe they might be concerned about, giving somebody else a key to their house. You put the key into this residential lock box, and it's great. We had a call over the summertime where the resident was unresponsive. Obviously, they couldn't come to the door to let us in. When I pulled up, I saw the residential lock box on the front of the house. Took my special set of keys that I have, was able to gain access to the box and open up the front door without.
So these lock boxes have like a master key that the fire department or the police department could get in?
Only a few select people in the fire department, myself, the deputies and such, have the keys to get access into these boxes. And the nice feature of this, your key is in there, and rather having to force open a door and do damage to your house, the key is in there, we can gain access, and there's no damage.
Why can't you just leave it under the rug or under the potted plant like most people do?
That's a great idea, and a lot of people have done that in the past, but the problem is we don't know it's under the potted plant, we don't know it's under the mat.
Okay.
Or under the rock or behind wherever it could be. Those are common places for people to put them, and unfortunately too, when people do put them back there, they get lost. They're raking the leaves, and all of a sudden that potted plant gets moved, there goes the key with it.
And sometimes there are bad guys out there that come to the house and they look and they say, oh, there's a key, I get to go in the house.
Yes, the bad guys, they know about those things, but that's another nice feature with the residential lockbox. It is so durable, it is so well built. The homeowner can purchase it and build it right onto the side wall of his house. And there's really very simple and easy to put in place, very, very durable. You can't break it.
Okay, and they would have a key to get into it?
The homeowner would not have a key to get into it. Only the fire department has the key to get in. They would give us the key, we would come down to activate the box, put it in there, and it's ready to go.
So this isn't something that you can go downtown and buy at CVS. Where would you get something like this?
We have special applications available at the fire department. It explains the residential lock box. What's nice is the application is made out to the Georgetown Fire Department, and there's only 3 people on the department, myself and the 2 deputies, that are allowed to permit keys to be issued. The boxes to be issued to homeowners.
Is there any concern that, oh, I lost my keys, I'm going to call you up and come and open my door for me?
Well, if that were the case, it's a funny question because I haven't had anybody pose that to us yet, but I could see it happening. Obviously, something like that, we would bring the police with us, validate to make sure who you are.
Okay.
Do you belong in that house? That's a good question. I like that.
It reminds me of what they use for real estate agents.
Very similar. Very similar.
It's something that attaches to the doorknob, and the agent is the only one that can get into it and get the key and open the door. One
of the models that they have available is similar to that. The box we're talking about for residences it's a regular box. Like I said, it's about 3 by 4 in size, and it bolts right into the side of your house.
Okay.
It's very secure.
Now, question for you, another question. What if your house is stone or brick?
There's ways that it can be mounted into stone and brick. It'll be put in with mounting anchors and such.
So it can be mounted, and somehow it could be done.
Right, very securely.
And that would be done by the homeowner?
Homeowner could do that, or he could hire a contractor to come in and mount it in, or even flush mount it in if they want to really be fancy about it.
Okay. This is another thing. When people are building their house, they should think about things like this.
Right.
Or putting an addition on that's going to have a door with locks.
Well, when I think of the number of times that you want to get in to your house, and you just mentioned, you know, and where are you looking for your key? Where did you put it?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with us. You know, if you are a person that hides it under a mat or under the planter, we're never going to know that.
Yeah. True. True. Anything else? Home safety.
That's a lot of stuff.
We covered an awful lot.
We did. We covered a lot. The winter time, it's a beautiful time of the year, and it's one of my favorites. But the problem is, because of ice and the cold and everything, it does present a lot of problems. I think what a lot of people need to be careful of, especially the kids, skating. You know, we have several real nice ponds in town, and you know, we always use the phrase that no ice is safe ice, and that's true, because you don't know how close the ice might have a stream running under it, a brook, something of that nature, and the ice is thin in that spot, and somebody goes through. And just the best thing is find an ice skating rink if you really want to skate.
I remember years ago growing up in the lake, people used to drive their cars
Yeah.
across the lake to
Right.
visit each other,
Yep.
which is just craziness when we think of it now.
Yes.
Plus, we don't have winters, I don't think, the way we used to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for whatever reason, you know, I'm sure this will probably be the year we get that cold. But
Yeah,
yeah, I
probably.
mean that's just that's a real you know, big safety thing. I mean, every year you see, you know, you read the stories about somebody going through the ice.
Pets on the ice. same
Pets
thing.
on the ice. Last year we had a deer that was out on the ice. We went out a couple of times on dogs stranded out on the ice, and they're much lighter than what we are, and they get stranded.
Yeah, so it's
So
something to be careful
stay
of.
off the ice.
Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
I think we handled it all.
Stay warm, stay safe.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Pleasure to have you back again.
Well, thank you. Look
So-
forward.
Don't forget to think about your safety this winter and follow these tips for us. I'm Beverly Enos. This is Spotlight Georgetown, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us. Bye for now.